everybody knew it was false. Amazingly, there's a media group that calls the media. And the next day, they did the most beautiful story about what a lie it was from NBC. She's back there, little Katie. She's back there. What a lie it was. No, what a lie. Katie Tur. What a lie it was from NBC to have written that. There's something happening. They're not reporting it. Katie, you're not reporting it, Katie. But there's something happening, Katie. There's something happening, Katie.
Our very own Katie Tur was one of Donald Trump's favorite media targets during the campaign. Ever the pro, she never took the bait, responding instead with more of the tough questions that her viewers, our viewers, deserve. But now in her new book, Unbelievable, My Front Row Seat to the Craziest Campaign in American History, Tur is talking back and telling us all the tea, what she really thought during her year and a half on the Trump trail. NBC News correspondent and anchor Katie Tur, MSNBC anchor Katie Tur, is with us now. My girl, first of all,
it's good to see you in D.C.
It's good to see you in person. Right, we get to see each other in New York and 30 Rock, but it's fun being in a different location. First of all, I love your dedication for the love of God. And I will just tell everyone, Katie is my friend, and I'm not saying this because you're my friend. This book is a page turner. The producer, Tracy, who produced this segment, and I both agreed it is a page turner from beginning to end. And
it's not a heavy political book. It's more of a, here is just a ridiculous story about what we saw on the campaign trail.
Right. And also the way it felt, because one of the things that you do in the book is you don't do it in order. You jump back and forward between election night, the victory party, and then you go back, and then sometimes you go even further back to, you know, the start of the campaign. And so that topsy-turvy feeling, it actually comes through in the book, the sort of madness for your life.
Absolutely, and it reminds you of how much you've forgotten. And then when you'll turn a page and you'll forget what you read the page before, and that's exactly what the campaign was like. Yeah. He buried one controversy with another.
That's right.
I talk about that great Orwell quote, it's a constant struggle to see what's in front of your nose. Yeah. It was also a constant struggle to recall what's in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and even for things that are very well known and that you remember the pieces of. I want to play a sound bite, and this is one of the most famous bites from the campaign, but zoom out a little bit and talk about your role in it. This is Donald Trump, Russia, if you're listening.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press. Let's see if that happens. That'll be next.
There was also your interaction with him during that presser. Talk a little bit about that.
So this was the middle of the Democratic National Convention. Hillary Clinton is getting all of the attention. Donald Trump likes to be in the center of the room. He likes to get all the attention. So he comes and he takes the stage and he starts bashing Hillary Clinton. And at one point he says that, Russia, if you're listening, I want you to find those emails. And I raised my hand thinking, is he serious? Does he really want a foreign government to look into the emails, to hack into the emails of not just Hillary Clinton, but anybody in this country? Why would he want a foreign government getting involved in our politics? It didn't make any sense. And so I pushed him on it, thinking, you know, if he is joking about it, at least he can say, no, I'm joking or I'm being hyperbolic. But he didn't. He stood his ground. I said, does it give you pause? He said, no, it does not give me pause. And then he told me to be quiet.
Yeah. The other sort of interesting aspect of the book, it seems to me that Donald Trump's comportment toward women are one of two. He either is relentlessly nasty and calls them disgusting and attacks them, or he has this sort of weird, sort of almost fixation. With you, he had both. He would attack you, but then he would also seem to try to draw you in. This is Donald Trump with you on Morning Joe, and this is actually after he had just passed you on the way to the set. Take a look. Take a look.
Katie Tur, what happened? She was so great. I just saw her back there. I gave her a big kiss.
Cringe. What happened?
It was a roller coaster with Donald Trump in terms of how he would treat me. He had these wild mood swings. The first time I was ever in the physical vicinity of him, I didn't know him at all. I presumed he didn't know who I was. But he called me out from the stage saying, Katie, you're not paying attention, needing to be the center of attention even back then. And then from there, and we didn't see a lot of this on television because it was either behind the scenes or at rallies that weren't being played live on television. He would call me out from the stage and say that I'm not reporting reporting something accurately, or that he didn't like the poll numbers that I was talking about, or he would say that I was great and he'd try to introduce me to a crowd almost as if I was his wife. And this was one of the moments early in the campaign where I just felt like it's a kiss on the cheek. It's not assault or anything, but it also is, it's deeply uncomfortable because this is not a friend of mine. This is not a colleague of mine. This is not a social situation. I am covering you because you were running to be president of the United States. And it felt like it crossed a line. I remember thinking to myself, nobody will take me seriously if they think I'm cozying up to him. And I remember being horrified to think that the cameras might have caught it. They did not, only for Trump himself to take the stage and to
mention it,
brag about it.
But it feels like him bragging about it was a way of sort of asserting sort of a dominant role over you. Do you get the sense that sort of in that Maggie Haberman sense that he craved your approval? Did you get the sense he was just attracted to you and upset that you were not returning it? Like, what did you think that was about?
I think he wants to be liked. He wants to be liked fundamentally, and he wants to be approved of. The New York Times, he wants the New York Times to pay attention to him, because if the New York Times pays attention to him, if Maggie Haberman pays attention to him, then he has that authority. He's at the level of the New York Times. The same thing goes for NBC News.
Yeah.
Don't discount who I was reporting for.
Right.
MSNBC and NBC News. He wanted to be treated kindly by us.
Yeah.
And I think he felt that meant that we were going to gloss over all of the very many controversies he would cause, or the outrages he would cause, or the reversals he would do, the flip-flops. He didn't feel like things were fair, and he wanted fair to him was nice. Yeah.
I want to play another soundbite, and this is the more disturbing aspect of the campaign. This was sort of the violent tone at the rallies. Take a look.
All right, get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out of here.
And you write in the book that the people at these Trump rallies, in their normal life, are just normal, nice people. But you write that inside a Trump rally, these people are unchained. They can drop their everyday niceties. They can yell and scream and say things they'd never say out loud on the outside. I mean, you had a grandpa spit on you. What was that about? Do you think that these were bad people who were unleashing their inner demons?
Trump was crude, and in his halo of crudeness, other people were allowed to be crude. You walked in those doors and you were part of a show. When Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall, they knew to say Mexico was going to pay for it. When he talked about Hillary Clinton, they knew to say lock her up. And when he talked about the media, they knew to turn around and boo the media. It was partially so they could go in and get their frustrations out. They felt like this country had left them behind. They felt like they were not being paid attention to. Donald Trump said, hey, no, I see you. I hear you. These people back there, the ones in the pen, the press pen that I've gathered here and brought with me from place to place, these are the people who are not listening to you. And they turned around and they booed. I doubt I would ever be called the C word when I was just walking down the street.
But you and I both experienced, I mean, there were people who were wearing the C word on shirts. I mean,
and they were.
Yeah.
It was remarkable. There was a father with his children wearing the C word in regards to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
There was another man who had a shirt that said, I wish Hillary married OJ, which is a very unsubtle way to say, I wish Hillary was murdered stabbed to death in a bloody mess on her front doorstep. It was very, the visuals in the crowd, the attitudes, the words were very violent.
And we know the Access Hollywood video did absolutely nothing to end his support. And there were women who were also wearing shirts. There was a famous photo of a woman who wore a shirt that
Ben
said,
Jacobs took that photo. Trump can grab me by my, and with an arrow pointed down.
Do you get the sense, just from having talked to a lot of Trump voters, that any of them are embarrassed by those photos of themselves today?
I do not have a sense of those individual people, how they feel about those photos now.
But in general, of just the behavior that people exhibit at those rallies, do you think any of them would be embarrassed by it now?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
That is a really good question that part of me says no. Part of me says this is a movement that is still out there, that they do still believe in Donald Trump. They do still feel like we are not on his side and we are therefore not on their side. So the behavior is not seen through that lens. It's seen more of as a fight back, a pushback against the establishment by any means necessary.
Yeah, but people are calling themselves deplorables. Well, Katy Tur, I wish we had like another hour to talk about this book. This book is so good. And honestly, it really is. It's a great read for those of you who think you will have to relive through an entire Nightmare of the campaign. It isn't that at all. It's really a book about journalism, being a journalist, the sort of harrowing nature of being a journalist, and a damn good journalist.
It's darkly funny at times.
It is darkly funny at times.
Yeah.
You got some references in there. BoJack makes the book.
It does.
I don't want to give away spoilers. Thank you very much to Katy Tur. Make sure that you check out her new book, Unbelievable. My front row seat. She's out signing this one for me. To the craziest campaign in American history. Buy it, read it, it's so good. Coming up, we will bring you the latest on the second night of protests in St. Louis. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.